All right, hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back into the Bears Den, an NFL podcast with the Chicago Bears First Focus. I'm your host, Alex. Here today, wanted to do a wild card weekend recap, my thoughts on the games. And I figured the way that I'm going to do it for today's video is I'm going to just kind of give a thought that I have for each team based on their performance in wild card weekend. And I'll probably do this the rest of the playoffs. But just want to come on here, jump on and talk about these teams and maybe some players specifically and things like that, and then you know certain topics I will discuss more in depth later in different videos. But we'll go ahead and we'll get into it. I'm just going to go in game order. So obviously we had the Chargers falling to the Houston Texans, and as far as the Chargers go, I'm done with the Justin Herbert talk. I'm tired of hearing it. We've heard it really since he's come into the league, right? That he is, he's an elite talent and he is, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and, um, top five in the AFC, all this stuff. And while that might be true in the regular season, I'm not one that really kind of will create and defend a narrative based on a quarterback just solely in the regular season. And to me, it's a bit silly because this guy is so good and so talented, yet he can't win a playoff game. And now, if we remember a couple years ago, they were up 27 to nothing, and in the playoffs against Jacksonville, and they lost that game. And then he had a horrible performance this past weekend, multiple picks, right? It was 3 or 4 picks, and just terrible, right? And it seems as if there's always excuses by the national media for Justin Herbert. Whether it's in the past it was, oh, it's Brandon Staley, or the defense collapsed, or he has no weapons. But it's like, okay, he's got one of the better coaches in the league now. The defense has been solid all year, and maybe it's partially true that he doesn't have the weapons, but on offense, but elite quarterbacks overcome. The best of the best overcome. And this guy's in what, year 4, year 5, and still no playoff wins. And then we're seeing a guy like Jaden Daniels get his first win in his first playoff game. So enough of the excuses, enough treating Justin Herbert like he's a top 10 quarterback, because until you actually do something, right? I'm tired of hearing how talented you are if then it's time to play big boy football against the big boy teams in the playoffs when the games matter, and you collapse, if that makes sense. So let's slow down the Justin Herbert talk, and I think next year is going to be an absolutely massive year for him. Otherwise, the narratives might start to get out of control. On the other side of the ball, Houston, looking back to form, the first 14 minutes of the game looked like the Houston that we had seen all year, and then all of a sudden they scored 10 points in like 50 seconds or something, I think. And that really seemed to wake them up in the second half. Stroud looked back to the Stroud that we were used to seeing, the majority of his rookie year. And it seemed like they kind of got a playoff bump. They got a playoff boost of energy in the second half, and they looked really, really solid in the second half. And, many people thought that going into the playoffs, they were the weakest team, or maybe the second weakest team behind Green Bay. But they looked good. And so they're going to Kansas City now. Can they keep the momentum up? Kansas City is somewhat vulnerable, I would like to think. We'll see, right? But they looked good, solid performance, and it was a needed performance by CJ Stroud. Pittsburgh, Baltimore. So as far as Baltimore goes, it seems like Derrick Henry was maybe the missing piece that they needed. To get a big back in there who can hit the top speed like Derrick Henry, that can do anything that is needed, right, from that position. It seems like that was the final piece needed for Baltimore. Derrick Henry kind of unlocks and unleashes Lamar Jackson, and it's the other way around as well. Lamar unlocks Derrick Henry and really just makes it, it's a very strong relationship between the two of them on the football field. And it makes them very, very dominant. It makes them very hard to deal with because they're both Hall of Fame players. We know that already. And that makes it extremely challenging for the defense to figure out who to deal with and who to put their focus on. And we're seeing that. It was an easy win for Baltimore. They took care of Pittsburgh again, no problem. As far as Pittsburgh goes, what are they going to do at quarterback in the offseason? My gut feeling is that Russ and Justin Fields will be gone. I don't think they're going to bring either one back. I would have liked to see Fields get some time in the second half when the offense was struggling for Pittsburgh. I think that Mike Tomlin kind of, made his bed with Russell Wilson and laid in it for the rest of the season, which I thought was kind of strange because they were clearly struggling on offense the past couple weeks. Obviously, Pickens was not very happy, and I feel like had they gone to Fields, perhaps the production might have dropped a little bit. But I also think that the switch was needed because Russ wasn't working at this point. And so I wish that we could have seen Fields get in there to see if he could have maybe brought them back. I thought it would have been a great story if he did, but Tomlin did not want to give him the chance. And so, you know, upsetting there. But I think both quarterbacks are going to be gone. And I think the clock is maybe ticking on Mike Tomlin because similar to Justin Herbert, this is a coach that in a long time now has had a consistent team in the playoffs every year, but then they don't do anything. I saw something, this was either the fifth or the sixth straight playoff game for the Steelers that they have been losing at some point by double digits. That's not a great stat, right? Buffalo, Denver. I didn't watch too much of this game, but this to me really feels like Buffalo's year. I don't think that they have any weaknesses. I suppose like their biggest weakness would maybe be head coach, but he's been better this year. Sean McDermott's been better this year, and I think that as long as Josh keeps playing the way he's playing, protecting the football, I don't know who can stop them. Right? They are dominant on both sides of the ball. They're dominant in the trenches. They have probably the best quarterback in the league this year, and they are scary. And I think that they're going to make the Super Bowl. And then Denver, I don't have anything negative to say about Denver. This is a solid year, right? This was a rebuild year. We're going to bring in, we're going to dump the Russell Wilson contract. We're going to bring in a rookie quarterback, and we're going to see how it goes. And they end up making the playoffs, right? And I think it's unfortunate that they ended up getting Buffalo, right? I mean, there's no chance that Denver was ever going to go in there and get it done with how well Buffalo has been playing this year, especially with a rookie quarterback, right? But to go in there, make the playoffs, have Bo Nix show you a bunch of things, solid year all the way around. If I'm a Denver fan, I'd be very happy with the year. My, definitely exceeded my expectations, right? And so, solid year for Denver. Definitely, keep your head up if you're a Denver fan. Philly, Green Bay. Philly needs to clean it up on offense. I thought the defense played fantastic, really shut Green Bay down. And perhaps it was rust with Jalen Hurts, but he needs to be able to pass a little bit more efficiently in the playoffs. I saw some stat yesterday. It was like in the last three playoff games, or maybe all the playoff games Jalen Hurts has played. He's thrown a total of like 400 something yards. So it's like he's barely throwing the football. He's not very efficient, and they're leaning on the run game and the defense. And there's going to be a time where potentially in 2 weeks, if they win this week, and then maybe they're playing Detroit or whoever, that they're going to maybe need to throw the ball, and he's going to need to be able to do that and prove it. And if I'm a defensive coordinator on these other teams, I'm teeing off on the run. I'm going to play to stop the run. Let's make Jalen Hurts throw the ball. Let's make him prove that he can in the big moments, and then whatever happens, happens. But Philly's defense is dominant, best in the league by far. So I guess as long as Jalen Hurts isn't turning the ball over, they can win, right? But you would like to see him be a little bit more efficient in the passing game. And then as far as Green Bay goes, different season, same result. This is kind of who they are, and it's always funny. I will try my best to remove the bias here as a Bears fan, but it's always funny hearing Green Bay in the Super Bowl contention talk every year. I always find that laughable because, if it was playoff contention talk, of course they'll be in there. They have a lot of talent on their team. They have one of the best coaches in the league, but come playoff time, it is not great if you're a Packers fan. And my biggest concern if I'm a Packers fan going into the next season is, oh, can Jordan Love actually play? Because this was not a good year, right? Way too many turnovers, way too inconsistent, close games against some teams that it probably shouldn't have been close against. And it's like you're paying this guy top five money. Is he worth the money? I would say after this season, it does not seem like that. Could that change? Of course, right? He definitely has the talent. He has made some crazy throws. I've seen him make some insane throws, but he needs to clean up the, what the hell was that throw? We see that a lot, multiple times a game, and we saw it against Philly this week, right? Two picks that were thrown deep where he's, one was single coverage, it was just kind of underthrown, got picked. The last pick he threw was in a double or triple coverage, and it's like, man, why are you throwing that? And then the one over the middle, I don't even know who he was throwing to. He just threw it straight to the backer. So, um, you know, next season, Jordan Love needs to clean it up. And I think we'll know probably by like week 6 or 7 if the contract was a mistake. And I would say that it's probably leaning towards being a mistake so far, but we will see. Washington, Tampa. Jaden Daniels, rookie of the year. He's legit. He has earned all of the praise and the accolades and everything that he will get this year. And am I upset as a Bears fan? No. Would I, if there was a redraft, would I take Caleb Williams over Jaden Daniels every time? Absolutely. I think Caleb's ceiling is higher. I think that Caleb will end up having a better career. But what Jaden Daniels has done as a rookie is, nothing short of excellent. And it's been a fun watch. And I predicted Tampa, I predicted Tampa to lose to Washington this past week. And for him to go on the road, first playoff game, get a win, another close game, he keeps proving that in those big moments, those close moments, he has it. And they're dangerous. They're dangerous. I'm telling you, watch out. Detroit needs to watch out. They are dangerous. And then Tampa Bay, can Baker Mayfield get them to the top? I don't know. He is a fun quarterback to watch. He's a fun personality. He's a good talent. My concern is, can he get them to the top? And I'm not sure if he can. I'd have to see next year, right? Obviously, his contract is fine. I'd have to see next year. I don't know if Baker can get them to the top. He's just too much of a kind of wild player uh, to get them all the way, in my opinion. And then finally, Minnesota and the Rams. What is Minnesota going to do with Sam Darnold? I'm planning on making a video about this tomorrow, talking about it, what I think they should do. But I mean, we saw it the last 2 weeks, the biggest games, they needed him to perform, and he doesn't. So I don't know. Rough year for Minnesota. I'd be really distraught if I was a Vikings fan. Winning 14 games, being the fifth seed, and then getting blown out in the wild card round. That's very, very unfortunate. And then the Rams, are they a dark horse candidate? I feel like no one's talking about the Rams. They're just kind of there, right? They kind of snuck in the last month. Seattle was the favorite. The Rams kind of snuck in. And then here they are. They just blew out, in the 14-win team. And it's just like, oh, Detroit this, Philly that, Washington, here they are. And it's like, here's the Rams. Are we forgetting about the Rams? When Stafford's playing, when he's on his game, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They have one of the best coaches in the league, Super Bowl winning coach, Super Bowl winning quarterback. They are built for the playoffs. All of a sudden, like they are feeling like a dark horse candidate. Watch out. I definitely could see them. I picked Philly to make the Super Bowl in the NFC, but I could see Philly going down this week to the Rams. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you agree with some of the things I said? Do you disagree? Pretty solid wildcard weekend, right? A lot of great games. And what are your thoughts on the 2-7 matchups? Because I think the 7 seed is now 1-9 in these games. Let me know what you guys think. Should they just go back to the 6-team format? Maybe. But yeah, I appreciate you guys listening as always. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button. I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Bear down. Have a good one. Peace.